Live from the Sports Center of Connecticut here in Shelton, we bring you this presentation of NCAA Division I Women's Hockey and the New England Women's Hockey Alliance. Today, it's the second of two games between the St. Michael's College Purple Knights and your Post-University Eagles. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome into the broadcast booth here at the Sports Center of Connecticut. Backed by our production team of Jarrett Michaels, Leah Lockwood, and our team of production assistants. My name is Max Stapleton. We're thrilled to be taking you through today's action. We got some great Friday night under the lights hockey, I should say, yesterday. And it saw the Eagles score and fight from behind to get a 2-1 victory over St. Michael's. After Anna Gerolo of St. Mike's got the scoring started in the first on a power play, backup netminder David Amundsen stood strong in between the pipes for the rest of the game, only allowing one goal, while upperclassmen Selena McKavikis and Emma Hain each found the back of the net to secure Post's second win of the new year. I wouldn't be doing my job if we didn't mention St. Mike's Annika Lavender, who was in net last night. Not only did she reach 3,000 career saves, and by the way, she's the first Newhaw netminder to ever reach that mark, but she also stopped an astounding 58 of 60 shots from the Eagles last night, just an absolute onslaught from Post University, and really kept her team in the game at multiple times throughout the contest yesterday. So we'll see if the other backup netminder, McKenna Dans, can do similarly for St. Michael's today. Meanwhile, for the Eagles, in her first career start, it'll be Alex Young in between the pipes for Post University. So don't go anywhere as we have more game previews, starting lineups, goalie matchups, and, of course, the puck drop, as it's all coming up next as you're watching our Post University Women's Hockey pregame show. Welcome back into the Sports Center of Connecticut as we're just about 30 seconds away from getting started for Game 2 of this two-game set between the St. Michael's College Purple Knights and your Post University Eagles. So with that, let's bring you tonight's starting goaltender matchup. First for the visiting Purple Knights, it'll be their sophomore netminder out of Marshfield, Massachusetts, McKenna Dance, making her 8th start of the year. Back up to Annika Lavender in between the pipes so far this season. She's got a .592 goals against average and an 89 save percentage. She's faced a lot of shots in net when she's been in there for the Purple Knights. Meanwhile, for the home squad tonight, it's the first career start for the freshman out of Thunder Bay, Ontario. It's Alex Young in between the pipes. This is her third appearance of the year, but again, first start, and so far she's got a .708 goals against average and an 88.5 save percentage. Again, those numbers are going to be a little bit twisted when you only come in as a sub and not as a starter. Starting lineups today, it's going to be third line forward group for St. Mike's. Alicia McDonald, Anna Gerolo, and Lexi Soon. Top line defense pairing, Fitzgibbon and Shadle, and the aforementioned McKenna Dans is in net. Meanwhile, for the Eagles, Timmery Grom, Jody Rose, Georgia Stevens, your second line forwards. Lily Zoner and Emma Hain, the red-hot Emma Hain, as of late, we should say. And, of course, Alex Young in between the pipes for the Eagles. Thanks so much for taking time out of your Saturday with us. We're underway here in Shelton. The Eagles win the opening draw, immediately goes all the way back into their end, and now they're going to send it all the way down the ice, and we'll have an icing here, only 13 seconds into this game. Boy, if you fell asleep early last night, you missed a couple of great periods and some Friday night hockey under the lights. It started back in the first. Anna Gerolo got the scoring started for St. Mike's, but Selena Mikavik has tied it up on the power play in the second, and Emma Hain got her 8th point in her last 6 games to secure the Eagles' 2-1 victory. A big slap shot off the draw for St. Mike's, hit a couple of bodies, never hit the net, and the Eagles come the other way with it. Maddie Noonan with a head of steam gets into the offensive zone. Looking for a shot from her teammate, but couldn't get it on net once again. Noonan now recovers, and the Eagles have possession. Emma Hain from the top of the blue line. Easy save that time, and an early test for McKenna Dans as we stop the clock, I should say, with 19:26 to go. Be interesting to see how McKenna Dans does in between the net. A pretty consistent backup. And of course, Alex Young as well. Devin Amundsen was in between the pipes last night for post, and boy, she was tested a lot early and then not tested a whole lot late. See if that remains the case here. Boy, quick backhand try off a loose puck. That was Timmery Grom trying to bury it. Now some extracurriculars after the whistle, and this chippiness between these two teams, it was getting lively last night, especially in that third period. Looks like it's continuing here today. You might have our first penalty of the game coming up already, and it looks like it's going to be the case. Georgia Stevens early in this one. Heading to the box, so is, I believe, Tessa Moore for St. Michael's. So we're going to have a 4-on-4 and 14 combined penalties between these two squads last night. One of the more astounding numbers you'll see this season. I had an opportunity to catch up with head coach Brandon Brown before the game today, and he definitely mentioned that it was a point of emphasis to try to take less penalties as a group for the Eagles. They're kind of in their heavy penalty stretch as of late to kick off this 2026 campaign. So we'll have some 4-on-4 hockey here for 2 minutes. The Eagles do win the draw, but immediately almost have it turned over, I should say. Back up towards the blue line. Jody Rose driving in. Rose dancing around, trying to find a lane, but getting harassed. Nice defensive play by Elizabeth Garraby. Meanwhile, Rose comes in again towards the net, takes the shot. I believe McKenna Dans had to make a quick save there. Karis Kale finds Rose once again, and Rose, another good try in the slot. That time it just missed the net. Callie Peterson controls the rebound, but loses it. Emerson McGillis right there. Hand gets raised. That's going to be a tripping penalty called on Peterson. And now we'll have our first power play of the game. Boy, 1 minute and 20 seconds into this hockey game, and we have our third combined penalty, the second on the Eagles. This one going to go on Peterson for tripping here. So face-off going to come down to the left, and this is an interesting little unit we got going on, a 4-on-3 power play, not something you practice every day. See how the Eagles can do. Penalty kill has been somewhat of a point to improve as well for Post. Comes when you take so many penalties. So quick face-off win for St. Mike's. Alicia McDonald along the near side, back up to the blue line. Shadle looking for a lane to pass to, and believe it was just miscommunication there between Shadle and Weathered. Either way, St. Mike still has possession in the offensive zone. McDonald dancing around the blue line, pulled it out of the blue line, and that'll be an offsides. So we got a minute and 1 second until it turns into a 5-on-4, and then it'll be that way for roughly 38 seconds. Neutral zone face-off win for the visiting Purple Knights. Julia Shadle has it now. Actually, that's Brianna Jarvis, I should say. Jarvis looking for someone behind her on the blue line, but Fitzgibbon just wasn't in position there. Ends up getting the turnover for Karis Kale. Now Emma Hain has it on her stick. Hain dancing along the far boards, trying to clear the defensive zone. Ends up getting it over to Tristan Curry. St. Mike's trying to re-enter once again. Good stick by Karis Kale to almost intercept that pass. And now St. Mike's does get into the offensive zone. The foot race for the puck, and Kale wins it over Jarvis. Trying to cut her off is Hetman, and Hetman does force the turnover. Hetman in that far corner, now driving towards the net, takes the shot, but it got blocked. Good play by Karis Kale to get in front of it. St. Mike's having a touch up here on sides. Emerson McGillis back into the offensive zone. 10 seconds left until this turns into a 5-on-4. McGillis back up towards the blue line, finds the driving man on the other side. That was Caitlin Alliong who forced the shot. Alex Young has to cover up on a couple of loose puck tries. And we have a stoppage here, 17-17 left in the first. Got 37 seconds left on the penalty assessed to Callie Peterson. In my opinion, a bit more obvious of a penalty than the one called earlier. Face-off coming to the left of Alex Young. Up at top, this is Alliong, finds McGillis along the near side. McGillis with the wrist shot, gets the deflection. Good play down low. It was Lily Hartnell who got her stick on it, and Alex Young was able to keep with it in net. Back over to the far slot, Callie Boychuk. That shot gets blocked up and over the net. Now a rebound try and a tough angled shot attempt. I believe it was Gooley who got that one on net. Tristan Curry trying to control the loose puck, and she does. Now takes it behind her own net and clears all the way down the ice. That's going to do it here on this first true power play of the game for St. Michael's. Call them 0 for 1 in this one. Back at even strength officially. Still trying to re-enter the zone and get possession set up is St. Michael's. Alliong moves it farther along the ice, but gets that pass intercepted. It's Karis Kale who has it now. Boy, even early in this game, we've been saying Kale's name a lot. When talking to Emma Hain and Devin Amundsen yesterday, Amundsen was sure to shout out Karis Kale in our post-game interviews. Mentioned just some of the fantastic plays she made, especially late in that game, to keep it tied and then ultimately posting the lead. Sloppy turnover here. Farberman with the shot. That one's saved. Rebound chance. They score! Oh, what a goal. 1-0 Eagles. Noah Farberman had the initial attempt, then the rebound attempt, and that is a beauty to put the Eagles on top early. For the junior out of Toronto, it's her third goal of the season, her 5th point overall. And boy, that's got to make Brandon Brown happy. Starting hot was one of the points of emphasis. Now the Eagles get a lead early in this game and try to take advantage as they re-enter the offensive zone. Karis Kale back out towards the blue line. This is Ruby Mitchell. She slaps one down, but just misses the net a little bit to the right. Noah Farberman in the far corner. Back behind the net. This is Mitchell. Bernaire. Now Mitchell trying to force the turnover there, but St. Mike's is able to leave the zone. Nice play by Jarvis. Now this is Gooley. Gooley tries the wrist shot, and that one, I believe Alex Young just got a piece of it. Stays in the offensive zone. Nice keeping by Brianna Jarvis for St. Mike's. Goes in deep. Now the Eagles are trying to force the turnover and get it out of there. McGillis, not if she has anything to say about it, but finally the Eagles do clear. 15-20 left to go in this first period. Eagles already up 1-0 thanks to Noah Farberman's 3rd of the season and an absolute beauty of a diving goal from Farberman. Jet Devlin actually. Now past the blue line, past the red line, and boy, she has a lot of speed on the ice. Takes the wrist shot, and that one just misses a bit wide. Gets her own, it's Maddie Noonan who got the rebound. Now McCava Kiss back up towards the blue line, Emma Hain. Hain with the wrist shot. That one got clipped by McKenna Dance. Maddie Noonan all alone at the center of the ice, and Dance gobbles it up with the glove. But boy, how do you let that happen if you're St. Mike's? Maddie Noonan, one of the better scorers on this team and the captain of the Eagles, found herself all alone in the slot and put a pretty good shot on net as well. Taking a look at some of the numbers early in this game. Already 5 shots on goal for Post. Compare that to just 3 for St. Mike's. Also won in the face-off battle 5-3 so far. This is Jet Devlin in the circle now for the Eagles. Not going to win that one. Had a really good night in the circle last night. Her and Jody Rose stood out in the face-off numbers. Puck goes all the way back behind the net of Alex Young. Eagles looking to get it out of their defensive zone. Nice play by Lexi Soon to keep it in. And now the tie-up here ultimately does get past the blue line. St. Mike's still with possession. Re-entering the offensive zone on sides was Alicia McDonald. Eagles trying to bang pass it up and out, and eventually they do. But once again, St. Mike's able to reset and control possession. 6 minutes gone here in the first period. Eagles trying to add on to their 1-0 lead. St. Mike's just trying to get a little bit of offense rolling here. Not going to be helped when Callie Peterson forces the turnover. Quick wrist shot on goal. Easily gobbled up in net by Dans. And we'll have another stoppage here. So we saw it early in this game. A couple of penalties on each side. Actually found St. Mike's with a power play early on, only for about 40 seconds, but the Eagles were able to survive it. Ultimately get up 1-0. Peterson fighting in that near corner, still retaining possession back behind the net, gives it off to Jody Rose. Rose pass into the slot for Stevens. Nice stick defensively that time. Looking for a number. It was Caitlin Alliong defensively who got in the way with it. Karis Kale back behind her own net, looking to slow things down for Post. Peterson passes it back to Kale. Now Jody Rose through neutral ice into the offensive zone. She goes. Rose, she takes the long angled shot. That one, I believe, just missed the netting again. Eagles trying to keep it in there. Good job by St. Mike's just to clear it out defensively, and now a possible 2-on-2 forming. But the Eagles and Tim Marie Grom do a nice job back checking. Make sure that St. Mike's didn't have numbers. Gooley driving towards the net, gets around one defender, but couldn't get around Ruby Mitchell. And now Mitchell tries to take it herself up the ice, but left it just a little too long. Gooley once again trying to re-enter the offensive zone. Shoots it just wide of the netting into the far corner it goes. Boychuk there to fight for it, as well as Tristan Curry. Marley Webster slides it along the boards. Trying to keep in for Lily Hartnell. She does so once, twice, and eventually Kai Hyatt does come away with possession, but the Eagles still not able to get past that forecheck right now of St. Mike's. Back around the boards, and a nice keep in that time. It's Lily Zoner. Good freshman defenseman making a great offensive keep in play at the blue line. Now Tristan Curry, she tries the long shot. That one misses wide. Rebound chance. Jody Rose just didn't get the shot off. Emma Hain now driving in the left slot, sends one up the middle, but nobody home to receive the pass. The Eagles still have possession. Boy, fan on a shot that time did Kai Hyatt. Now Isabel Gooley tries to come the other way with it, but again, the Eagles with a great job on the back check, just preventing St. Mike's from getting any real kind of numbers on some of these counterattack plays. Boy, a big collision at center ice. Emma Hain just absolutely lays out Audrey Hetman. Had trouble seeing the number, but what a hit from Emma Hain. Anna Bernaire sends it up for Paige Piper, who's in the lineup tonight as the extra skater. Tallulah Cameron getting a bit of rest. Puck goes all the way around the boards. This is Naomi Tink. First time we've said her name tonight into the offensive zone, as well as the extra skater for St. Mike's, Morehouse, in there after not being in the lineup yesterday. Fitzgibbon tries the shot. That one chested and gobbled and covered by Alex Young. 11:08 left to go in this first period. A 1-0 Eagles lead over St. Mike's. And boy, one of the bigger hits of the year between Emma Hain and Victoria Fitzgibbon. It was really Hain standing up the hit from Audrey Hetman, I should say, not Victoria Fitzgibbon. And man, Hain, not only the top offensive producer on this Eagles staff, but really showing off some of the physicality. Oh, another big collision right in front of the net of Young. It's Karis Kale, this time knocking down Lexi Soon. Maddie Noonan trying to get it out of the defensive zone, but St. Mike's going extremely heavy on the forecheck. This has been a fun first period between these two teams. You know, these games mean a ton, as they're both fighting for standing position before the Newhawk Conference Tournament. Callie Peterson Tries to send it up for Devlin. Pass couldn't go. McGillis goes the other way with it. Sends it deep into the Eagles zone. Peterson retrieves. Fighting with Lexi soon. Eventually puck trickles out to Maddie Noonan. Now Noonan unable to retain possession. Peterson does. For Makavakis along the near boards. Now Noonan once again drifting through neutral ice. Ahead of steam. Tries to get around defender. Nice poke check by Audrey Hetman to take that away and force the turnover. Hetman got around the hit of Ruby Mitchell that time. Boy, learned her lesson after the one from Hain. Marley Webster with a shot. That one more of just a possession play. Easily saved. And McKenna Dan stops the clock here with 10:06 left to go in the first. And after a couple of early penalties in this first period, it's been clean, it's been fun, it's been fast, and it's been physical between St. Mike's and Post University. Ruby Mitchell tries a long shot. That one clipped a body, never clipped the net. Coming up the ice, Brianna Jarvis getting harassed by Georgia Stevens on the back check. Now the puck somehow trickles out. Jody Rose finding it. Audrey Hetman fighting for it. And Hetman looked like she was going to come away with possession. Instead, the Eagles do. Ooh, pass left just a little bit behind Rose there. Somehow it ends up on the stick of Stevens, and she fans on the shot. Now Weatherhead tries to just settle it down for St. Mike's. Looking to clear the zone. Able to keep it in was Emma Hine yet again. Hine drifting towards the right side. Now takes the shot, but that one, believe, clipped the stick of a St. Mike's defenseman. Lily Zoner, nice job keeping it in, but St. Mike's able to force the turnover right away, and the puck goes all the way back into the defensive zone of Post University. Graham tried the long up ice pass. Cooley got in the way of that one. Now Riley Patfield sends it farther ahead. Hetman getting her stick lifted by Kai Hyatt. Now a little breakout play being set up for St. Mike's, moving right to left on your screen. This is Lily Hartnell getting by one defender, tries to shot that one off the crossbar. Boy, got over the glove of Alex Young and just wasn't able to bury it. Was Lily Hartnell. She has it on her stick now and just elects to send it in deep as the rest of her team gets a platoon swap in. Zoner moving left to right. The Eagles in their home white classic jerseys. St. Mike's in their purple and gold. Tie up along the far side. Puck ends up going all the way back behind the net of Alex Young yet again, and that's going to be an icing with 8:21 left to go in this first period. It's going to take us to our first media timeout of this game. What a fun game this has been. It's the Eagles with a 1-0 lead early.
Cheers.
Back in after a very short media timeout. St. Mike's immediately wins the defensive zone faceoff, but the Eagles go heavy on the forecheck, trying to force the turnover and add on to their 1-0 lead. Karis Kale up at the blue line. Her shot gets tipped high up into the air. Noah Farman tried to bring it down and take a shot. Good defensive stick by McGillis. Actually, stand corrected, it's Fitzgibbon who stood in the way of that one. The Eagles still with possession. Kale fighting for it in that near corner. So was Paige Piper. But it ends up going St. Mike's way. Across the ice to the other side, this is Julia Shadle. Shadle with a head of steam past the blue line, looking for a lane. That shot gets blocked. Nice job by Karis Gale to put her body on the line. Stays in the offensive zone for McGillis, and McGillis tries a long shot. Boy, that one got blocked. Believe it was her own teammate, Gerala, who actually blocked it. The Eagles trying to clear it, ends up going out of play, so 7:24 left to go in this first period. Some of the stats for you in this 1-0 game. 7 shots on goal for Post. Compare that to just 4 for, actually now 5 after that most recent attempt for St. Mike's. Make it 16 shots total in the game and 12 for the Purple Knights. Face-off-wise, a close battle, 7-6 in favor of the visitors, and looks like we have a timeout of some sort. Now this is our media timeout, it looks like. Maybe we get an extra one today. Who knows? But either way, we'll take a break. 7:24 left to go in the first. 1-0 Eagles lead. You got an extra media timeout here in Shelton today. Always feels fun and good opportunity for myself. So defensive zone faceoff here for the Eagles, and it goes St. Mike's way. Quick shot off the draw, deflects just wide of the netting, but Brianna Jarvis gobbles up the rebound for St. Mike's and retains possession. Tries to drift it back out to the blue line, but Selena Mikavakis got in the way of that pass. Maddie Noonan with a great pass to herself, and the Eagles have possession of the offensive zone. Mikavakis tried that tough angled shot, hit off the side of the net, loose puck out in front, ends up getting on the stick of Brianna Jarvis. Jarvis into her offensive zone. Ooh, great move to get around Mitchell. Oh, what a goal! Brianna Jarvis with a beauty to tie up the game, and it's 1-1. We have seen some astounding skate play today. Brianna Jarvis just danced around Ruby Mitchell and then went short side to beat Alex Young to even up this matchup at 1 apiece. For Brianna Jarvis, her third goal of the year. Out of her 5 points now, 2 of them have come against Post University. So she's liked this matchup throughout the course of the season. And now in a brand new game with 6:43 to go left in this first period, see how the Eagles can respond. Emma Hain back up towards the blue line for Zoner, and her shot gets blocked down. Nice play by McKenna Dans. That was a bouncing puck and not an easy save. Zoner once again right at the red line. Has to stop and recircle as the Eagles were offsides. Now looking for a lane to pass it to and try to get it to Emma Hain, but that one just gets chipped back into the offensive zone. Eagles trying to get possession once again. Boychuk, not if she has anything to say about it. Patfield back on the ice and almost forcing that turnover, but Boychuk is able to get it out of there for St. Mike's. Now a 2-on-1 here for St. Mike's as Boychuk takes the shot. That one gets saved by Alex Young. Rebound goes over to the far side and out of danger for now for Post University, but these two teams competing hard today. Lily Hartnell almost gets handled into the boards. Good job by her to just avoid the hit from Jody Rose. The Eagles elect just to dump it in deep and get a platoon swap in. Under 6 minutes left to go in this first period. Lexi Soon enters her offensive zone, trying to work around Karis Kale. Goes back up to the blue line. Shadow shot gets deflected. Beautiful save from Alex Young. Back down low. This is McDonald. Another one-time attempt. Another save from Young yet again. That was Shadle also on the goal, on the shot attempt. Boy, a couple of grade A opportunities for Julia Shadle and the Purple Knights. And Alex Young was able to say no to both of them. Kai Hyatt now into the offensive zone, circling around, looking for someone to pass to. Good play by McDonald to get in the way of the pass, but the Eagles retain possession down low. Patfield turns it over that time, but the Eagles turn it over right back. Right at the blue line, and it stays inside. Nice keeping by Peterson. She passes it across into the slot. Beautiful play design. Just couldn't quite get it in the back of the net as Patfield's shot got saved. Rebound ends up going St. Mike's way, but Peterson is able to keep it in yet again. A couple of Eagles change off as they elect to dump it in deep, and that one actually gets up and over the netting, so we'll have a whistle here with 4:40 left to go in this first period. Boy, prior to yesterday's game, it was a 1-goal in 11-game stretch for St. Michael's, but they were able to get one across yesterday in the first period, one across today in the first period, and their offense has looked lively, even despite them only playing with 20 of, a possible 22 skaters. McDonald going one against the world into the offensive zone. Couldn't quite get around Jet Devlin. Now the loose puck still in the St. Mike's offensive end of things. Gets gathered by Mitchell. Now Mitchell past the blue line, looking to get around a Purple Knight defender and Audrey Hetman, and almost does so, just does so. Ends up turning it over right in the slot. Brianna Jarvis. Don't want to give her an opportunity, as the Eagles have seen so far now a couple of times this season. Jarvis once again behind Alex Young's net, into the slot. Beautiful save by Young. Oh, what a save from the freshman, sliding across her crease and keeping this game at tied 1 apiece. The level of play we're seeing today has been fun to watch, and Alex Young making her mark here in New Ha play in her first career start, and a great sliding kick save to keep this at 1-1. St. Mike's wins the draw, shoots it into this near corner. Good keeping once again from the Purple Knights, but Devlin does have it on her stick now. Gives it to Noonan. Noonan into the offensive zone. She goes. Elects just to dump it in deep. Hetman trying to gather and slow down for St. Mike's. Isn't able to do so. Back up top, Emma Haynes. She tries the long wrister. That one gets blocked. Never reaches the net. Caitlin Alliong back behind her own net now for Hetman. Hetman circling around. Back to Alliong. Alliong's pass just left a little too long for Jarvis. Eagles end up with possession at neutral ice. Maddie Noonan into the offensive zone. Noonan tries the shot. That one gobbled up and covered up by McKenna Danzen net. Boy, this has been a fun game to watch so far. If you're not tuning in, you're missing out. What was looking like it was going to be Post dominating early in this game, it's now kind of switched the other way. No domination for either side, but St. Mike's now outshooting the Eagles 10-8 here in the first period. Face-off-wise, they're winning the battle 9-8, make it 10-8 after that latest win. Tim Marie Grom with it on her stick for Post University. Fighting hard in that far corner. Looking for a number for St. Mike's. It's a good defensive play from her, and let's test some more in there defensively. Now Marley Webster. Tried to keep it in. Actually, Lily Zoner. Zoner just couldn't get it into the offensive zone for Post. Big collision over by the near side. Boychuk, no hand gets raised yet again, and we'll play on. Zoner with it on her stick through neutral ice, gives it for Rose. Rose along the right slot, tries to center a pass, but nobody home to receive it. Anna Gerolo gets it turned over instead. McDonald, all by herself pretty much back in the offensive zone. Just about 2 minutes left to go, and boy, Eagles catch a bit of a break there as it looked like St. Mike's was really setting up well offensively. Fitzgibbon, her long shot from a tough angle, easily stopped by Alex Young yet again. And we'll stop play with 2 minutes and 10 seconds left to go. These two teams all about their defense, and it absolutely shows in this game. Some really physical plays, some big hits at neutral ice. Not to mention we've seen some high-level scoring as well. It was Noah Farman on the rebound chance, left her feet to score the goal. On the other end, Brianna Jarvis with one of the prettier dangles to split the defenseman and get it just past the short side of Alex Young. Long shot from a tough angle here at the blue line. Rebound chance for Jarvis, and Alex Young comes up strong in net. Another chance here, and the shot goes just a little wide of the netting. Eagles having a tough time clearing their defensive zone. Finally, they do. Tristan Curry now. She gets into the offensive end of things, looking for Kai Hyatt. That pass just left a little behind, and now a possible 2-on-1 forming for St. Michael's. That was Weatherhead. She got it over to Garabee, and the pass just left a little too long. A great back check as well from an Eagle defenseman looking for the number. That was Riley Patfield there defensively for Post University. Now Karis Kale with it on her stick, finds Patfield on the near boards. And Kai Hyatt gets around one defender, 13-on-13 crime. Callie Boychuk trying to answer back. And Hyatt ends up getting the shot on goal, easily gloved down by McKenna Dans. Boy, I got to catch my breath here for a second. This has been a back-and-forth game. Both the offenses really showing up here in this first period. You know, mentioned it a couple times last night, mentioned it already once or twice so far in this first period. But only 20 of 22 possible skaters for St. Mike's. So there's a long shot attempt for the Eagles off the draw. We'll get more into it later. Eagles still in their offensive zone, getting tied up along the far boards, pretty close to the St. Mike's bench. Ends up going back to Maddie Noonan at center ice. Noonan now dancing around the blue line. Unable to keep it in. Boy, would have been a fantastic play from Noonan had she been able to keep that one on sides, but instead, we'll have a neutralized faceoff here coming up. So 20 of 22 skaters for St. Mike's. In the first period, you expect them to come out strong and really make a statement, but last night it seemed to show that they just kind of got tired towards the end of that game, only ended up with 2 shots on goal in the third period yesterday. So we'll see if that story remains true today. Certainly have come out with lots of energy here in the first, have the Purple Knights. Maddie Noonan trying to force the turnover on the forecheck. Alongside the far boards, just about 35 seconds left to go in this opening period. The Eagles with one last possible possession in the offensive zone. Try to pass it across the ice. Nobody was home to receive it. Now going the other way, and that should be an icing. Might give the Eagles another opportunity here with 22.7 left in this first period. Purple Knights out shooting the Eagles 13-11 here in the first. And it's an 11-10 face-off advantage for the visitors. So if you're Megan Sweezy, you got to love the energy they're coming out with here in Shelton in the first period. They were obviously in the game the entire night last night and led it for a good majority. End up just falling 2-1 to post. Jody Rose back in her offensive zone. She tries a tough angled shot, and Stevens got a piece of it. So did, I believe, McKenna Danzen net. 3 seconds left to go here in this first period, and after the tie-up, that's going to bring us to our first intermission. Just a joy of a first period to watch. 1-1 after one. First goal of the game coming for Noah Farberman on a beautiful rebound chance, left her feet and buried it back behind the net. Meanwhile, for the other side, Brianna Jarvis was able to just dangle it and split between two defenders and get it past the short side of Alex Young to even up the score at 1 apiece. Well, I need to catch my breath, but we'll be back in just a little bit, 15 minutes from now, so don't go anywhere and enjoy the first intermission. It's the Eagles 1 and the Purple Knights 1. Welcome back to the Sports Center of Connecticut, as we're just about 30 seconds away to starting our middle period of play between the St. Michael's Purple Knights and your Post University Eagles. What a fun first period that really was. Between these two intra-conference foes, we got ourselves at a 1-1 game. Two of the better goals you'll see in the conference all season long happened here in Shelton. It was Noah Farberman on a beautiful just rebound chance, leaving her feet to bury the goal. And then on the other side of the ice, Brianna Jarvis, each collecting their third goal of the season, by the way. Jarvis was able to just dangle it past the defender and get it past the short side of freshman netminder Alex Young. And the puck is dropped, and we're underway here to start our middle period of play. Thanks so much for taking time out of your Saturday. Max Stapleton, backed by Leah Lockwood, Jared Michaels, and our team of graduate assistants. We're really thrilled to be taking you through the action. Eagles have possession back in their own defensive zone. Almost a turnover. It actually technically is a turnover. Ended up as a shot on goal for Gerolo. And Alex Young is forced to have her head on a swivel and make the first save of the period, only a couple of seconds in. Taking a look at some of the stats of that first period, 13-11 the shot on goal total in favor of the visiting St. Michael's Purple Knights. Now, that's not a new story necessarily. St. Mike's did come out last night very strong in the first period, ended up taking a 1-0 lead into the intermission. Eagles came out stronger in the second and third to ultimately take it 2-1. Looked like it was a good opportunity for St. Mike's on the other end. Eagles got the turnover, now back into their offensive zone. Pass looking to get it into the slot from Jody Rose, but she stays with it. Puck goes back in deep towards the far corner. Timmery Grom fighting for it for the Eagles. Fitzgibbon for St. Mike's. Ends up going to Julia Shadle. Shadle has that one taken off her stick. Nice physical play from Jody Rose, but Gerolo has it moving left to right now for St. Mike's. Gerolo sends it into this near corner. McDonald chasing after it. Now fight for it along the near corner. Bernaire for Post University trying to clear the defensive zone, but couldn't quite do so. Tessa Moore at neutral ice for St. Mike's. Now going into the offensive end of things, it's Elizabeth Garraby. Garraby with a tough angled shot. Young makes an easy save. Now Tessa Moore. Moore with a bouncing puck, and that one scooped up and held onto by Alex Young as well. So all ready to start off this second period. We're seeing St. Mike's come out with some offensive pressure, a couple of shots on goal, and Alex Young forced to make a couple of saves. Young, by the way, made a tremendous sliding save in her crease back in the first, and really stood on her head at periods throughout that first period. Her first career start. So far, so good for the young freshman. Post trying to get back into their offensive zone. Riley Patfield was held up right alongside the blue line. Now she tries the shot, but that one hit a St. Mike's defender. Loose puck trickles into this near corner. Eagles still have possession. Webster tries a tough angled shot. That one misses wide. Patfield yet again from a tough angle to hit a defender. And now two Eagles defensemen collide into each other. That was Mitchell and Webster who ran right next to each other, and almost a dangerous play, but ends up breaking the Eagles' way. Now trying to re-enter the offensive zone. Just over 2 minutes gone here in the first period. Audrey Hetman has it for the Purple Knights. Trying to get past her own net, and now out of the defensive zone it goes. The pass left just a little bit too long, and St. Mike's will have to reset the breakout play. Allion getting harassed by freshman Peyton Tully. Tully forcing a great turnover there in the offensive zone, and the Eagles have possession. Zoner along the far board, back up to the blue line. Emma Hine with the one-time attempt. That one misses wide left. Farman sends it back up towards the blue line here. Zoner yet again with the long wrist shot, and that one gets right into the chest of McKenna Dans, and she's forced to make her first tough save of the period. Taking a look at these middle period stats so far. Shots on goal 3-1 in favor of St. Mike's. In the faceoff circle, 2-1 in favor of Post. Only a couple minutes in. Not really much of a feeling out process here in the middle period now. This is, of course, the fourth game between these two this season. Post with a 3-0 series advantage. Puck goes all the way back down the ice. Assuming Zoner wins that race, she does. It'll be an icing. 17:05 left to go. Post University, they were able to snap their 3-game losing streak last night, now improved to 2-2 so far in the new year. Sitting at 6th in the Newha Conference, and they're not out of the possibility of hosting a game in the Newha tournament if they can get up to fourth at some point. Beautiful tic-tac-toe setup, but Devlin just missed the net wide right. Puck goes all the way back down to the other end of the ice. Emma Hain able to touch it up, but not ruled an icing. And so Post will have to reset. Meanwhile, St. Mike's going heavy on a forecheck here. Gerolo tried to cut it off, but the Eagles smoothly enter the neutral zone and now into the offensive zone. Emma Hain gives it up. Another shot. Good save by McKenna Dans. Shot came off the stick of Maddie Noonan. Hain once again forcing the turnover, trying to get towards the net. Another try, and the loose trickling puck ends up getting blockered into safety by Dans. St. Mike's comes away with possession. Lexi Soon crossed the ice for McDonald. McDonald with a bouncing puck. Young sends it into the far corner. Now a fight for that puck and ends up going way up in the air, and a hand pass gets ruled by the referee, so we'll have a stoppage here at 16:12 left to go. Mentioned the Eagles able to snap their 3-game losing streak. During that stretch of 3 games, they took 16 penalties. Had another 7 last night, so 23 in 4 games for Post University. Brandon Brown talked about it, definitely want to clean it up. It was a point of emphasis over practice. Boy, great opportunity, they score! St. Mike's takes a 2-1 lead. Who else but Brianna Jarvis getting back behind the net. And it's 2-1 now in favor of the visitors. Jarvis is having herself a game. For her on the season, now her 4th goal. Her 7th point of the year and her 3rd against Post University this season. Let's see if the Eagles can respond with 16 minutes left to go in this middle period. Jody Rose tries to send one into the crease, but Georgia Stevens just couldn't get it on net. Battle forward in that far corner. Elizabeth Gareby in there for the Purple Knights. Stays in the offensive zone of the Eagles. Peterson now gets around one defender, towards the net, takes the backhanded try. I believe a Purple Knight got in the way of that before it ever reached the net, however. Now moving left to right, this is Brianna Jarvis once again. Has that taken away from her at neutral ice. Peterson on her stick, trying to split the defense there and send it into the offensive zone. Tessa Moore has it. Moore back up for Weathered. Neutral ice defense tightening up here. Riley Patfield into the offensive zone. Looked like she might have had the lane, but elects just to slow it down and try to set up offensive possession, and then has it taken away from her by the Purple Knights defensively. Peterson takes it right back. The Eagles still offsides, and they end up getting whistled down for offsides with exactly 15 minutes left to go in this second period. Now a 2-1 game, 2nd goal of the game for Brianna Jarvis, and her 4th of the season. She has loved this matchup against the Post defense this year. Got a face-off here at neutral ice. It's Kai Hyatt. Lily Hartnell as well. Looked like she was almost ready for the face-off, and now we're just about ready. Tie up off the draw. It ends up going the Eagles' way for their win. Hyatt back into the offensive zone, but couldn't really handle it cleanly. Tristan Curry elects just to shoot it in deep, and now it's a little dump and chase game here. Allion getting chased down by Hyatt. Looks like Riley Patfield in there as well. Patfield in the slot. Beautiful one-time attempt and a beautiful save from Dans, denying Tristan Curry for what would have been the game-tying goal. Marley Webster now sends it back around the boards. Noah Fardman, the goal scorer for Post University, gets tied up and ends up turning it over. St. Mike's trying to send it across the ice into their offensive zone, a foot race, and it ends up getting won by Marley Webster. So it'll go down as an icing with 14:15 left to go here in the second. Some of the second period stats for you. 5-4 shots on goal in favor of St. Mike's in the second period. No penalties to call of. 6-2 the face-off total-wise for Post University today. So they're winning the majority of the draws here in the second so far, but haven't been able to take advantage yet. This is Bernaire versus Lily Hartnell for St. Mike's, and Bernaire wins it. So make it 7-2 for Post. Long wrist shot, rebound chance, scores! And Noah Farberman gets her 2nd of the game. It's now 2-2. Punch, counter punch, and Farberman answers right back for her 4th goal of the season. the Eagles, exactly what you wanted if you're Brandon Brown and company. When you get punched, you want to answer right back, and Farbman does just that on a rebound opportunity. We were just talking about the face-off advantage for Post in the second period. Well, they won the face-off, got a quick, long wrist shot, and then Farbman was in perfect position to just bury it back behind the net on the rebound chance. Now after the puck drop, this is Julia Shadle re-entering her offensive zone. She tries the long shot, rebound chance, and Alex Young had to touch it up twice before it got out of danger. Bouncing puck yet again, never quite hits the net. Now a race for it between Emma Hine and a Purple Knight. Emma Hine wins it. And now Makavakis with a head of steam. She goes in the offensive zone. She takes the shot. That one gloved down. Rebound not controlled by Dans. But the puck does trickle out of the offensive zone, and the Eagles will have to reset. Karis Kale with it on her stick. Had some trouble handling it down. Now along the far side, Jet Devlin. Same type of situation, but the Eagles retain possession. Maddie Noonan around the boards it goes. Sends it back up towards the blue line for Kale, and Kale takes the shot. That one almost got through the 5-hole of Dan. She barely got a piece of it. Rebound still loose with the wraparound try somehow out of the net. Don't know if Dan's got a piece of it or a defender. The third try, and Dan's does gobble it up and freezes the puck with 13:04 left to go. Boy, 3 golden opportunities for the Eagles, but McKenna Dans is able to stop all of them. Dans has been seeing a lot of pressure in between the pipes for St. Mike's in this last, 3-minute stretch or so. All of a sudden, the shots on goal total has risen up. It's now 9-6 in the period in favor of Post. Face-off coming to her left, and the Eagles win it yet again. Boy, such an important part of this game that's just not often talked about. Another shot attempt that time for Noonan. Just misses a bit wide. Kale gathers the rebound. Back behind the net for Noonan. Back to Kale. And just couldn't control it right in front of the slot. Ends up turning it over. It's now Jarvis. Don't want to give her any more opportunities. Both her and Farbman looking for the hat trick today. Weathered keeps it in the offensive zone for St. Mike's, but for how long is the question, as Peterson now has it on her stick. Back behind the net for Karis Kale. Kale couldn't handle it cleanly, but Makavakis is right there to gather. Back to the other end. Noah Farbman getting harassed, almost turned it over in a dangerous position. Ends up trickling into this near corner, however, still in the offensive zone of St. Mike's. No one's able to come down with possession as of yet, and the loose puck goes all the way to the other side. Finally, it does just trickle past the blue line. Eagles come out with possession, and now a 2-on-1, 2-on-2 for the Eagles. Noonan and Devlin just couldn't quite hit up the connection there. Good defensive stick. I believe it was Aliong on the back check getting in the way. She has it now on her stick, trying to reset things for St. Mike's. Audrey Hetman dancing around, avoiding the check of Tim-Marie Grom. Now Aliong once again. Try to send it to the other side. Jody Rose got in the way of that one, and it stays in the defensive zone of St. Mike's. Aliong, once again, having a tough time getting these passes to connect. It was Georgia Stevens getting in the way defensively. Puck trickles right into the slot, but it goes to the Purple Knights defenseman. And finally, they're able to get it over to that side of the ice where Ruby Mitchell will chase after it, and actually, it's going to go down as an icing. Just under 9 minutes have been played here in this middle period, and already a goal apiece between these two squads. Offensive zone faceoff coming up in favor of the Eagles. Brandon Brown electing to send out Tully, Bernaire, and Farberman. This fourth-line group that has been accounting for both of the goals today so far for the Eagles. They win another face-off back up to Emma Hine. Now to Zoner along the far end. Zoner tries the long wrist shot. That one off the chest of Dan's. Puck still loose out in front, and McDonald is able to gather up the rebound. Hine just not able to keep it in. It's whistled down for offsides. Right call is right here at the camera well. We get a perfect view of the blue line. Mosher, their linesman, was right there as well, and we'll have a neutralized faceoff coming up. Saw some of the Eagles kind of tilt their head in frustration, but it definitely was offsides. Can't emphasize how much fun it's been with a clean game today as well. Only 2 penalties called against Post and 1 against St. Mike's. Only 1 power play of the game so far. That's on St. Mike's, and that was a big hit. Could have been called a penalty, but hands stay down and will play on here. Tessa Moore along the near corner for the visiting Purple Knights. all on the far end now. That's Emerson McGillis trying to get it out of the defensive zone. Maddie Noonan or Tristan Curry just unable to keep it in. Now into their offensive end, Jarvis. Couldn't quite handle it down. Puck goes all the way back past the red line of McKenna Dance, and that'll be another icing here with 10:28 left in the second. Taking a look at some of the numbers for some Eagles as of late. Hannah Saunders not starting yesterday, not starting today, but not anything to be too concerned about. She started 15 in a row prior to yesterday's matchup, so you want a good opportunity for what is expected to be the future of this net-minding core for Post University, and Devin Amundsen and Alex Young to get some games in. Shadle dances around a couple of defenders into the offensive zone, and that one had to be blocker saved by Young. Back up towards the blue line, another long shot from Fitzgibbon. That one hit the back of Emma Hain. Never on net, passed into the slot. That one was on net, and a beautiful save from Young yet again in the perfect position. Now going the other way, this is the Post University. Kai Hyatt, she tries a shot. That one chested down, rebound not controlled by Dans. And Weatherhead tries to go the other way with it, but not able to clear. Curry for Patfield. And Patfield's shot just misses a bit to the right. It was a beautiful one-time setup, but unable to get it to the back of the net. There's going to be a penalty coming up. I believe it's going to go against Emma Hain. And it'll be the second power play opportunity of the game coming up for St. Mike's. Hain ends up going to the box. This is our first penalty in the last 7 games for Emma Hain, which is something you really got to be proud of for the veteran transfer. Going to be a cross-checking penalty here at 10:20. Second power play opportunity of the game for St. Mike's. They're 0 for 1 so far in this one. Overall in the season on the power play, well, they're 4.9%. That's last in the conference. I have a whistle here on the face-off. Penalty kill-wise for the Eagles, well, they're also last in the conference at 73.8%. And wow, a late decision to go to our media timeout here with 9:39 left to go in this middle period. We'll take a break. It's St. Mike's coming back onto the power play next in just a couple of seconds. Back in at the Sports Center of Connecticut. Second power play opportunity of the game for St. Mike's coming up. It's the last ranked power play and the last ranked penalty killed for each side respectively, so something's got to give here. We'll see who can come out on top. Kai Hyatt in the circle for the Eagles, and it's Gerillo in the circle for St. Mike's. Hyatt wins it, but St. Mike's retains possession. Driving towards the net, that's Audrey Hetman, and ends up getting poke-checked away by the netminder, Alex Young. Loose puck right in that left slot. Eagles try to clear, but it's kept in by Weatherhead. Gerillo in that far corner. Nice play defensively. Looking for a number. I believe it's Karis Kale right there. It is, making a couple of plays defensively, but still St. Mike's has possession. Hetman back up to the blue line for Garraby. Back to Hetman on this near slot. Swings it down low. That's McDonald driving back up towards the blue line. McDonald to the other side of the ice now. Back up top. Hetman with the one-time try. That one seen beautifully by Alex Young and frozen for a save. Got a minute 17 left to go on the power play here. 8:56 left to go in the middle period, and both sides getting a fresh 5 and 4 out there respectively. It's McCavicus, Mitchell, Devlin, and Webster in there for Post. On the penalty kill, Lexi Soon, Victoria Fitzgibbon, Brianna Jarvis, of course, Isabel Gooley, and Julia Shadle on the power play. Gooley had that one turned over. Jet Devlin coming the other way short-handed for Post University, just halfway through the second power play opportunity of the game. The Eagles have not been able to go on the power play so far in this one. Shadle drifting through neutral ice, gets it into the offensive zone. Into the right slot she goes, now dancing back behind the net of Young. Shadle with a wraparound try. That one went through the crease, never hit the net. Back up to the blue line, Fitzgibbon with a lot of space, and Young gobbles it up and freezes the puck. 8:19 left in the second period. Some good opportunities for St. Mike's to take a lead with a woman advantage, but not able to capitalize. Last shot came off the stick of Victoria Fitzgibbon, and yet again we got an entire platoon swap for the Purple Knights here. Hetman, Gerillo, McDonald, Garraby, and Weathered, the original five out there on the power play. Eagles win the faceoff, immediately send it down the ice and get some time off of this woman advantage. It ticks down to 30 seconds left. Garraby from behind her own net trying to set up the breakout. Getting harassed by Timmery Grom, but finding a way to get around her. Pass left a little too long for Weathered. They do get it into the offensive zone with Gerillo. Back up to the blue line, Hetman. Some good passing here from St. Mike's. Garraby back up top, Weathered. One-time attempt, but that one well wide for Audrey Hetman. With 5 seconds left to go on the power play, Eagles are able to clear, and St. Mike's going to go to 0 for 2 on the day with the woman advantage. Penalty kill. Steady improvement for the Eagles throughout the year and seems to be getting better. Weathered back into her offensive zone, now at even strength between these two squads. Into this near corner, back up top for Gerillo, and Gerillo tried the long shot, but right there was Callie Peterson to make the pseudo save. Rose gets past Shadle. Ends up getting tied up and taken down hard right in the corner by Shadle. Good defensive stick, and no hand is raised, so we'll play on. Gerillo tries to send it up the ice. Karis Kale is right there to cut it off. Kale with a head of steam into the offensive zone. Sends one into the slot. Farman looking for the hat trick, and a great save from McKenna Dans to keep her head on a swivel and prevent the Eagles from taking a lead. Back into the offensive zone for St. Mike's, but again, not really able to sustain possession. 5-on-5 here in the second period. Hyatt sends it across on sides for Noah Farman. Farman trying to keep it in. Everyone collides with everyone, and St. Mike's comes away with it. Naomi Tink. Whoa, great stick lift that time from Emma Hine. And Hine forces the turnover. Almost turns it right back and ends up, actually she does turn it right back over. Callie Boydchuk in her offensive zone. Finds a way to get it over to Weathered. Weathered with the shot. That one shouldered away by Alex Young. Farberman fighting for it. So is Kai Hyatt. The Eagles just trying to slow things down in their own defensive zone right now. Find a way to get the puck out of there. Peterson tries to chip it ahead. Not able to clear. Finally, the Eagles do just get it past the blue line, and it's Kai Hyatt. Hyatt sends it in deep. Elects just to get a platoon swap, and it's the right call after a very long defensive shift for that line. A fresh 5 or 4 out there as Hyatt wasn't quite able to get off. Into their offensive zone, Julia Shadle. Looking for a lane to pass to, gives it to Weathered. Weathered sends it deep behind the net, but nobody's home to retrieve the pass, and Zoner takes it instead. Zoner for Curry. Curry just left a little too long, and good neutralized defense between these two squads, really tightening up here with just over 5 minutes left to go in the second period. Gerillo trying to enter and sustain possession in the offensive zone, but instead elects just to dump it in, and Hine will take over. St. Michael's transitions over to the forecheck. Eagles looking to break out. Forecheck seems to have the advantage for St. Mike's, at least as of right now. Eagles do get it past the line. Curry into the offensive zone. Sends it in deep, gathers her own pass. Curry into the slot, loose puck out in front. Still fighting for her. One save, a couple of saves, and the whistle is finally blown. McKenna Dans keeping this game tied. A couple of great opportunities at point-blank range, and Dans comes up with a couple of big saves. Boy, the netminders for St. Michael's over the course of this weekend have really stood out. It was Lavender last night, making 58 saves out of 60 total shots from post, in what ended up being a losing effort, but it was a great night for her, both in terms of the night and her career stats with 3,000 career saves. Now, tonight, McKenna Dans in her 8th start of the season, making a couple of beautiful saves to keep this game tied in this second. Tried the slap shot off the draw, did post and Ruby Mitchell, but it didn't work out. Good block by Callie Boychuk. And now St. Michael's tries to enter the zone. Looks like they're going to enter it offside, so they'll have to touch up. Gives the opportunity for the Eagles to really set up a breakout play here. Chip pass to the far side, left just a little too long for Maddie Noonan, but Jeff Devlin's right there to recover it. Fight for it right at middle ice. Nobody's able to get possession. St. Mike's goes the other way. The Eagles turn it right back over. 4 minutes left to go in this second period. When talking to interim head coach Brandon Brown, nice and slippery as Caitlin Alliong falls down. When talking to Brandon Brown before the game today, he mentioned wanting to get the puck off the boards in the offensive zone into the middle of the ice. Just like that, Timmery Grom had a great opportunity in the middle of the ice. Ended up getting saved by Dans. But we've really seen that here in the second period. Dans, she's been fantastic in between the pipes, but the Eagles have some good opportunities from good scoring chances in the slot in between the circles. Rose in the face-off circle right now for post. It's Garraby for St. Michael's, and Garraby wins it. Around the boards it goes, the defensive end of things. Brianna Jarvis on the far end turns it over. Rose almost was able to get the shot off, but a good stick from Fitzgibbon. And it looked like Fitzgibbon might have hooked an Eagle there, but again, no hand gets raised. Georgia Stevens in the far end. Fighting for it. Timmery Grom in there to help her as well. Grom still fighting with Garraby defensively. Grom sends it into the slot. Now back up top. Karis Kale. Her shot gets blocked. It was Weatherhead getting in the way of it. Now Kale trying to keep it in. Unable to do so. Foot race for the loose puck. And it goes to Callie Peterson. But Jarvis is right there harassing her. Rose going the other way. Past the blue line. Just dumps it in deep behind her. Looked like she was trying to leave it for Stevens, but maybe mishandled it. Karis Kale. Couldn't quite handle it cleanly, but Grom has her back. Grom fanned on the shot. Puck trickles out into that far slot. Jody Rose tries the chip shot, and that one shouldered into safety by Dans once again. Under 3 minutes left in this second period, all tied up at 2-2 between St. Mike's and Post University. Been a fun day. It's a fun crowd here for the Eagles, making lots of noise. And this has been a fun brand of hockey between these two teams. A lot of hits, a lot of great offensive play, and a couple of players with a couple of goals. Eagles win the faceoff. Hine with the slap shot off the draw. Just misses up and above. Peyton Tully. Tough angled shot. Dan's got a piece of it. Loose puck out in front. They score! 3-2 Eagles, and it's Lily Zoner getting on the board. For Zoner, her second goal of the season, her 4th point overall. And just like that, from down 2-1, the Eagles take a 3-2 lead. Eagles win the neutralized faceoff and try to capitalize on that extra momentum gained. Still 2.5 minutes left to go in the period. Plenty of time for either side to get back on the board one more time. For Zoner, such a solid defenseman as a freshman and an integral part of this team. Has played in pretty much every game this year for the Eagles. Gotta feel good to get on the board offensively for her. You saw the excitement from her teammates as well. Couldn't have been more excited for her. Isabel Gooley tried the shot. That one hit a post defenseman. Rebound chance. I believe it was Lily Hartnell in there for St. Mike's, but again, right in the way was a post defenseman to get the block. Emma Hine has it now. Sends it up the ice for Riley Patfield. Patfield couldn't handle it cleanly. Now Kale has that one turned over. Garraby sends it into the offensive zone for Weatherhead. Weatherhead tough angled into the slot, and actually Alex Young got a piece of it. 1 minute, 34 seconds left to go in the period. Recent goal scorer Lily Zoner trying to clear it. Ends up getting it past the blue line. Emma Hain unable to get around Audrey Hetman, but her teammate Kai Hyatt is right there to back her up. Hyatt with the shot. That one poked into the corner by Dans. Boy, a glove comes off and goes flying for Riley Patfield as she was trying to make the defensive play. Eagles still with possession. Patfield staying on the ice, ends up getting all her equipment back on. Tough angle shot off the side of the net. Don't believe Dan's got a piece of it, and the rebound trickles into safety. Eagles still trying to apply heavy pressure on the forecheck. St. Mike's just trying to get it out of their defensive zone, and eventually Jarvis does. Jarvis, don't want to give her any more opportunities. Back behind the net she goes, looking for a lane to pass to, sends it into the slot. Over there with Shadle, hands it back off to Jarvis, ends up getting out of the offensive zone, and a whistle is blown here. Didn't see what the call was. It looks like we have some kind of stoppage here. Might be too many men on the ice. I believe that's what the call is going to be, and if that's the case, well, that gives Post their first opportunity of the day. Everyone on Post is going down towards their offensive zone, and yeah, it's going to be a too many men on the ice penalty against St. Michael's. So they're going to let Lexi Soon go into the box. And that gives Post their first opportunity with a woman advantage here. 38.1 left to go in the period, so if they don't score, they'll start the third period on the power play. On the season, they're at 8.8%, seventh in the conference. Penalty kill-wise, also seventh in the conference for St. Mike's at 77.3. Hain with a shot. That one gets blocked, trickles into the corner. Karis Kale fighting for it. So is Fitzgibbon. Funny bounce off the boards and ends up going all the way out of the zone after a nice clearance that time, I believe, by Isabel Gooley. The Eagles will have to reset things with just about 15 seconds left to go before our second intermission. Devlin trying for one last push for Post. Into the offensive zone, across the ice for Hain. Hain sends it into the slot, one-time chance, and a great save from Dans. 3 seconds left to go. One more opportunity. Devlin takes the shot, misses wide, and that's going to do it for the period. The Eagles take a 3-2 lead into the locker room and into our second intermission. They'll also start the third period on a power play for 1 minute and 22 seconds before we go back to even strength. It was Noah Fardman and Brianna Jarvis each getting their second goal of the game in that middle period of play, but Lily Zoner gets her second of the year to put the Eagles on top, taking a 1-goal lead into the intermission. So don't go anywhere, as we'll be back in just about 15 minutes, but once again, it's the Eagles 3 and St. Mike's 2. Welcome back to the Sports Center of Connecticut as we're just about 30 seconds away from starting our third and presumably final period of play here between the St. Michael's Purple Knights and your Post University Eagles. Boy, what a game this has been so far. Went into the first intermission tied up at 1 apiece, and the Eagles took a 3-2 lead into the second intermission. Both Brianna Jarvis and Noah Farberman each have 2 goals in this game, looking for the hat trick. Of course, for St. Mike's, that's their only 2 goals, but Lily Zoner got on the board late in that second period at the 17.21 mark in the second, to be exact, her second of the season. And boy, just a couple of great efforts today for the Eagles on the stat sheet. Lily Zoner with a goal and an assist. Noah Farberman with a pair of goals. Emma Hain with 2 more assists today. This is now her 4th multi-point game in her last 7 games. So safe to say that she's been on fire as of late. And the Eagles look to continue this momentum into this third period. Devlin's ready at center ice. Hetman's ready at center ice. The puck is dropped, and we're underway here for the third. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your Saturday to join us here for some New England Women's Hockey Alliance Division I action. Immediately, the Eagles did win the draw, but turned it over, and St. Mike's decides just to shoot it all the way back down. Eagles, remember, start this period with a woman advantage thanks to the too many men on the ice penalty. They're 0 for 0. It's their first power play opportunity of the game. McCavikis, a little bit of a mishandle there entering the offensive zone. McGillis tries to take advantage of it. Emma Hain able to keep it in along those far boards. Back up to her now on the blue line. Across for Karis Kale. Back into the slot. Some tic-tac-toe type passing for Post University, but nothing to come of it. 35 seconds left on the power play. Maddie Noonan back into the slot for McCavikis. Good heads-up play defensively by McDonald to get her stick in the way. St. Michael's unable to clear, though. Good keeping from Hain. McCavikis with a shot in the slot, and Dan's got a piece of that with her blocker. Hain across for Kale. Good setup, but a better save by Dan's yet again right into her chest, and the puck gets cleared all the way down the ice, where Alex Young will have to touch up, and that's likely to do it for Post on their first power play opportunity of the game. They'll move to 0 for 1 in just about 3 seconds, but still with an opportunity here in the offensive zone. Rose, she takes the shot, and Dan's just got a piece of that with her glove before it deflected up over her net. St. Mike's coming right to left now here in this third period, and they're pretty good-looking road purple and gold jerseys. Eagles moving left to right in their home white and orange jerseys, and they're actually going to say that Post iced that one with 18:18 left to go in this third period. Taking a look at the game stats overall. Between the first 2 periods, it was 34-26, the shots on goal total. Boy, a lot of shots on goal for these 2 netminders to face through only 2 periods of play in favor of the Eagles. Face-off-wise, Eagles dominating in the circle, but not there. 29-16, 29-17 after that win. And now after the block shot, a 2-on-1 forming for Post University, trying to get it in, but a great defensive play that time by the captain, Emerson McGillis, taking away any type of opportunity for the Eagles to stretch it to a 2-goal lead. Back in the offensive zone, Ruby Mitchell trying to force the turnover. St. Michael's just trying to stay above water right now and get out of the defensive zone. This is Boydchuk now. Back past the blue line, trying to avoid the check of Lily Zoner. Ends up clearing the defensive zone accidentally, but Boydchuk will recover it and reset. Tries to hand it off, a sloppy turnover. Farberman takes over, shoots, and just misses it. Boy, everybody on their feet here for Noah Farberman. Everyone's looking for that ever so elusive 3rd goal of the game. Emma Hain forces the turnover. Farberman yet again gives it up back to Hain. Great teammate move and a great pass back to Farberman. And she just fans on the shot, goes all the way back down the ice. Boy, this is a fun environment here at the Sports Center of Connecticut. Fans really getting on their feet. Three minutes gone here in this third period. Eagles looking to clear. Good keeping by St. Mike's and Audrey Hetman right at the blue line. But Hain has it on her stick yet again. Hain through neutral ice into the offensive zone. Gets around Hetman, looking for someone to pass to. Almost found Selena McCavikis, but she had her stick tied up. And out come the Purple Knights. Anna Gerolo gets handled hard into the boards. Boy, 15-on-15 crime between Gerolo and Tully. And the hand gets raised. And one of them is going to the box. It looks like it's going to go on Peyton Tully. See what the official call is, but third power play of the game, I should say. Coming up for St. Mike's. Tully's now left the penalty box, which is why I'm pausing a little bit here, trying to see what the call is. Tully was literally 1 foot in the box, and now she's back out of it, kind of skating towards her bench. And now Gerolo's going into the penalty box here. So, boy, it looked like the linesman might have changed their mind at the last second, but it ends up going as a power play for the Eagles, and a great opportunity to take a 2-goal lead after the penalty to Anna Gerolo. Emma Hain at the blue line looking for a deflection right on goal, and Dan somehow found a piece of it. Puck ends up clearing the offensive zone and back all the way behind the net of Alex Young, where the Eagles will reset for their second power play opportunity. So far, 0 for 1, came in with the 7th best in the conference at 8.9%. Unable to get it past the red line of the neutral zone there, so Hain tries to reset things. Sends it back for Mikavakis. Already 30 seconds gone with the woman advantage. Now Mikavakis across the ice. That's Devlin. Into the offensive zone, leaves it for Noonan. Noonan gets handled right alongside those boards. Puck trickles into the corner, and Devlin picks it up. Back behind the net, into the far slot. Trickles back out towards the blue line. Emma Hain ends up with possession and has it poked away from her. Nice play from Audrey Hetman defensively. Eagles trying to reset halfway through this power play. Karis Kale, she takes the shot. That one kick saved and then up into the chest of McKenna Dans with 56 left to go on the woman advantage. Boy, one of the better crowds we've seen here at the rinks at Shelton. A good portion of the men's team here to support the women. You always love to see that. Brandon Brown elects Jody Rose in the face-off circle. Ends up losing that face-off to Lily Hartnell. Puck loose right along these near boards. Good clearance from St. Anselm. St. Michael's. All the way down the ice, and the clock tricks down to 40 seconds on this power play. Stevens along the near side, now across the ice for Rose. Into the offensive zone. Tries to leave it for Timmerie Grom, just left a little too long. Hartnell unable to clear, trying to swing it around the boards of St. Mike's, and just unable to keep it in was Lily Zoner for post. Possibly one last push for the Eagles here on their second power play opportunity of this game. Zoner circling around, gets into the offensive zone. Sends it across the ice for Rose. Rose along the near boards. Getting tied up, back up to the blue line for Stevens. Stevens driving in, takes the shot, saved and out of traffic by McKenna Dans. Out of the box goes Brianna actually it was not Jarvis, but Gerolo in the box. Jarvis just subbed on. Good move by Weathered. Weathered towards the net, takes the shot, and boy, Young got a piece of it twice. They won up above her head to keep it out of the net. Now Jody Rose sends it into the offensive zone, and a smart play there after a long shift just to dump and change as we've reached 6 minutes gone here in this third period. Farberman has it taken away from her. You can hear some of the crowd reaction. She's not even in the offensive zone. She's just at the red line. The crowd wants her to get every type of scoring option she can, going for the hat trick. Puck stopped here with 13:55 left to go in this third period. You got to love it. You got to love the support here at Post. One of the better environments of the year and one of the better games of the year for the Eagles. And this third, by the way, Post outshooting St. Mike's 7-1 so far. Back up towards the blue line, and the Purple Knights trying to change that around. McGillis, her shot couldn't quite reach the net. But Lexi soon handles the rebound behind Young's net, tries the wraparound try, and Young in a great position to just make the easy save there. Pucked back into the defensive zone of the Eagles. Young's going to touch it up behind her net and leave it for Mitchell. Mitchell back up and around the boards, gets tied up. Now Devlin tries to help her out. It goes back to Noonan. Webster for Mikavakis. Mikavakis tries a bank pass to herself and just elects to send it all the way up the ice. Looked like Gerolo might have been trying for an icing there, but the referees aren't going to give it to her. So the SMC will have to reset and try to break out. Lexi Soon into her offensive zone. Gets around Callie Peterson, but left the puck a little too far, and it was an easy save that time. Technically a save for Alex Young. Young's looked pretty strong in net so far in her first career start as a true freshman out of Thunder Bay. Gave up the 2 goals, one in the first, one in the second. But she's been tested probably a bit more than expected when going up against St. Mike's. Defensive zone win for Kai Hyatt and the Eagles. Karis Kale tries to gather the loose puck. Boy, it's still loose. Wasn't actually moving at all for a second. Eagles do end up clearing the zone. And Tristan Curry just tries to shoot it all the way down. Looks like that's actually going to go as an icing, I believe, saying she was past the red line. So we have yet another stoppage here. Of course, same 5 will have to be out there for post. It's Patfield, Hyatt, Peterson, Karis Kale, and Tristan Curry. Meanwhile, for the opposition, it's Lily Hartnell, Fitzgibbon, Isabel Gooley, Julia Shadle, and Alicia McDonald. The Eagles win the draw. Peterson off the faceoff, trying to get it out of her defensive zone yet again. They end up just clearing it. No one getting off the ice for the Eagles. Kai Hyatt forcing the turnover, but gets met by 3 different Purple Knights and is not able to get the shot off. Now in the offensive zone of post, trying to keep it in, and a good job by Tristan Curry to do just that, but unable to do so a second time around as she tries to re-enter. Neutralized defense really tightening up in the last 2 or 3 minutes. We have another whistle for an offsides here with 12-12 left to go in this game. Post looking to improve to 4-0 on the season against St. Michael's and 3-2 in the new year, with about 6 games left on the schedule after this one. 2 against LIU and 2 against Stonehill as well. Post still has an opportunity to fight for a home ice game in the new hot tournament, but you need to win as many games as you can and as many of them in regulation as you can. So we'll see if the Eagles can get that done today for the 2nd game in a row. Now if the Purple Knights and Jarvis have anything to say about it, she tried the shot, rebound chance, just missed the net through the crease. Lily Zoner for Stevens, and Stevens left it for Rose. Now Jody Rose, past the blue line, past the red line, into the offensive zone she goes. Back for Stevens. Stevens gets met. Good opportunity for Grom, and a great save from Dans. Rebound is loose, a fight for it. Dans is still fighting for it, and the puck trickles into safety into the near corner. Shot from a tough angle from Zoner, but that one didn't hit the net, and the puck just exits the offensive zone. And boy, what a sequence there for the Eagles, trying to keep that momentum going here as Emma Haynes, she tries the shot. That one misses up and above, but Jet Devlin is able to keep it in. Gets met by a Purple Knight defender, and then a rebound chance. Easy save that time for McKenna Dance. I don't know, it felt like a 3 or 4 minute stretch of solid neutralized defense. We just got a flurry of offense from the Eagles. Looking to continue that as Brandon Brown sending out a new line, and Devlin, Mitchell and company. Kavakis on the far end forward-wise. But the face-off goes the Purple Knights' way instead. Mitchell unable to keep in that clearance attempt. So the Eagles trying to reset, but meanwhile Lexi Soon aggressive on defense. Now Jet Devlin enters the offensive zone. Back behind the net it goes of McKenna Dance. Around the boards, Eagles get possession. Long shot, but easily stopped before it ever hit the net that time. Believe it was off of Karis Kale's stick. Actually, no, Marley Webster's. She shoots it right back in, technically on goal. Fight for it in that far corner. Eagles doing a great job of keeping the puck on that end of the ice the last couple of minutes here in this 3rd period. Alicia McDonald looking to break out for St. Mike's. Unable to do so. Turnover. Noonan into the slot for Farberman, and Farberman just couldn't get the shot off. Good defensive stick from Tessa Moore. Now going right to left for St. Michael's. Anna Gerillo past the blue line. She takes the shot. That one easily blockered aside from Alex Young. Karis Kale. Back to Jet Devlin, and now up the boards. Farberman decides just to shoot it in. Shadle and Kale racing after it. Tully's right there as well. Now a tie-up along those far boards. Tully gets taken down. Everybody's falling down to the ice. Ends up getting on the stick of Julia Shadle. For how long is the question? How aggressive are these Eagles on the forecheck right now? Defensively in the offensive zone, just on point. Looked like they had another opportunity there, possibly did Farberman, but she's had a very long shift and is trying to get off the ice, and does. Meanwhile, St. Mike's not able to get possession set up. Peterson comes the other way with it for post. Callie Peterson gets around a couple of defenders, trying to give it off to her teammate. Back up top for Emma Hain. Hain to Patfield. Patfield with a long wrist shot, bounces a couple of times, and I think Dan's just got that with her pad. Eagles get a platoon swap in. SMC trying to reset in their defensive zone. Couldn't get it out of there. Boychuk couldn't handle it cleanly. Back in deep, this is Audrey Hetman. Hetman sends it farther up the boards. Kai Hyatt is able to intercept the pass. Tristan Curry couldn't get it back in the offensive zone. Ends up going right back out to Kyler Weathered. And now Hetman past her blue line. She takes the shot. Hain in perfect position to get the block defensively. And now Hain along the near boards. Looking for a pass intended for Tristan Curry. Got intercepted. Now Garraby. She sends it to the far side. Jarvis with the shot. That one gobbled up by Young. And she has really one of her first tests in the last, I would say, 7 minutes or so for the stoppage. At 8:12 left to go here in this third period. It'll take us to our media timeout. The Eagles clinging on to the 3-2 lead. Down the bumpy road to the finish here in Shelton. 8:12 left to go in this third period. Eagles lead it by 1, 3-2. Defensive zone faceoff. Ends up going post's way. Ruby Mitchell trying to keep possession. So is Kai Hyatt, who has it on her stick now. Hyatt couldn't get it really past the red line. Good neutralized defense from St. Mike's. Mitchell trying to reset for Post University. Back to Hyatt. Hyatt in the offensive zone she goes. Over at this near slot, tries to center it. Nobody home to receive the pass. Back out of the offensive zone, but the Eagles still with possession. Tristan Curry gets met by Gerillo. Gerillo forces the turnover, and now Weathered in a foot race into the offensive zone. Try to get it back in the slot. What a play defensively by Mitchell to intercept the pass. Almost a rebound chance for Gerillo there. Now she takes the shot, but Marley Webster got in the way of that one. Back out to Shadle, now to the near side, Fitzgibbon. Fitzgibbon with a long wrister, but Alex Young saw it perfectly through a couple of screens and made the easy save at 7:20 left in this third period. Third period stats for you. St. Mike's starting to catch up a little bit in the stat book. Now a 9-4 shots on goal advantage for the Eagles. Face-off-wise, still 6-4 in favor of Post University. Obviously one penalty for St. Mike's, but 0 for 1 on the power play is Post. They win the defensive zone face-off, try to bank pass to Jody Rose, and it worked out that time. Rose into the offensive zone, takes the shot, but looked like it just came off her stick a little funny and ended up getting lifted over the net. Ooh, Rose with another great opportunity, and she just shot it off the side of the net. Boy, another grade A chance for Jody Rose, just unable to take advantage. Long shot from the blue line, gets blocked. Now St. Mike's trying to swing it around the boards. This is McDonald once again with it on her stick. Alicia McDonald circling. Tried to bank pass to Soon, but that one just left a little behind her. Couple of Eagles right there attempting to regain possession, but the puck clears the offensive zone. Callie Peterson, I've said her name a lot tonight. She's been all over the ice. Along the near boards. This is Noonan fighting for it for Post University. Devlin in there to help her out as well. McDonald defensively for St. Mike's. Ends up going on Devlin's stick. Devlin driving towards the net, gives it for Kale, and Kale just shot a little bit wide. Don't know if Dan's got a piece of it or not. Back up. This is Audrey Hetman. Hetman moving right to left. Decides just to shoot it in deep, chase off, let some of her teammates get a change in. Peyton Tully on the far boards instead. Tries to get past 2, maybe 3 defenders. Swinging a little bit forward for Devlin. Devlin fighting for it. Oh, that looked like it might have been a penalty, and it is. Hand gets raised. Goalie goes to the net. And St. Michael's is going to have an advantage here with 5:42 left to go in this third period and an opportunity to tie this game. Penalty's going to be assessed to Peyton Tully in this one. Her first penalty of this game, but what's becoming now a bit of a trend for Peyton Tully. Now in her last 6 games, including this one, she has taken 5 penalties. So you don't want to see that become a habit for the young freshman out of Toledo, Ohio. Having a really good season, good fundamental season for the Eagles so far. But either way, power play here for St. Mike's. That's Gooley along the near boards. Lexi Soon down in the near corner, back up top for Julia Shadle. Shadle dancing around, looking for a good lane to either pass or shoot. To the other side, Fitzgibbon with a shot. That one saved by Alex Young. Rebound loose, goes on the stick of Jody Rose, and Rose just shoves it out of the defensive zone as 25 seconds have come and gone here on this power play attempt. Oh, big collision there. Looked like Georgia Stevens went down to the ice hard. I think it was a good call to not make a call there from the referees, however. Into the offensive zone, Fitzgibbon. Stevens goes down yet again. Got a feel for her a little bit. Back up top, this is Soon. Along the near boards into the near corner. Gooley and Fitzgibbon trying to really just retain possession for St. Mike's, but they're having trouble getting off the boards. Weatherred here at the blue line almost lost an edge. Gooley couldn't handle the pass cleanly. Zoner right there defensively, and Zoner comes out with it. Rest of her penalty kill unit gets a change off. Zoner doing a good job of just wasting some time. We're over halfway gone on this power play. St. Mike's with another opportunity, trying to get it through the neutral zone here. 4th power play chance of the game for the Purple Knights. They're 0 for 3 so far. Definitely a point of pride for Brandon Brown. As he mentioned to me, been trying to improve the power play, just improve the discipline in general. 30 seconds left to go on the penalty kill. Good interception attempt by Jet Devlin. Ends up going the Eagles' way, and they clear it all the way back down the ice. Or almost all the way back down. Boy, missed Kyler Weatherhead there, and now she's making her presence felt with 10 seconds left to go on the woman advantage. Hetman with a lot of space, sends it back down low. This is Gerillo. Hetman once again into the near corner with 1 second left, and we're back at even strength between these two teams. Tristan Curry comes onto the ice. That shot gets blocked by Karis Kale. Rebound chance goes into the crease, and Alex Young is forced to make the pad save. Covers it up with 3:33 left to go in the third. Eagles with a 3-2 lead. How many more threes can I fit in there? Alex Young, number 37, making a lot of saves here and trying to prevent this game from being tied, I should say. Kai Hyatt in the face-off circle. Lily Hartnell, but it ends up going Kai Hyatt's way. Fitzgibbon cuts off the pass at center ice, now trying to retain possession, can't do so, but it goes back to her teammate Shadle. Shadle slowing it down in her own defensive zone. Back across to the near side, Lily Hartnell. Behind the net of Alex Young. Marley Webster's right there. Boy, big collision yet again into the boards. Another physical game here in Shelton. Post one of the more physical teams, but St. Mike's trying to match that energy. Under 3 minutes left to go in the third. McGillis sends it into the offensive zone. Mitchell there to retrieve for Post. The rest of St. Mike's looks like they're getting a change in. Pass left just a little bit behind Riley Patfield. So St. Mike's comes the other way with it. Weatherhead gets past one defender, towards the net, takes the shot, and Alex Young comes up with a great save in a clutch moment. Kyler Weatherhead, one of the most dangerous skaters on this Purple Knights team with a golden opportunity, but the true freshman Alex Young comes in to save the day. 2:37 left in this third period. Brandon Brown electing with Jody Rose and the rest of that second line forward group in there. Zoner comes away with the face-off win, as well as Jody Rose in the circle. All the way down the ice. Hetman Retrieves for St. Michael's, looking to set up a breakout, but the Eagles heavy on the forecheck. Rose forces the turnover. Puck is loose back behind the net of McKenna Dans. Rose back in the slot, looking for somebody to pass to, ends up swinging it over to Zoner. Zoner with the slap shot. That one gobbled up by Dans in net with just over 2 minutes left in this third period. Total stats in the game, another 40 shot on goal day for Post University. Compare that to 34 for St. Michael's. A pretty good day for them as well. Both these netminders have been tested and then some today. Boy, technically a face-off win for the Eagles, but ends up exiting the offensive zone. So the Eagles elect just to shoot it right back in, where Julia Shadell will retrieve for the Purple Knights. Not for very long as Jody Rose takes the shot. That one kicked into the corner by Dans yet again. 1:51 left to go. We're going to keep a close eye on McKenna Dans, see when she leaves the net, but hasn't been given an opportunity yet, as the Purple Knights have just been having trouble getting set up on their offensive end of things. Lexi Soon in the neutral zone. Now McDonald in her offensive zone. Still, McKenna Dans has not left the net yet, and there she goes. McKenna Dans heading towards the bench, the extra skater coming on, and as she does, no, McKenna Dans is now looking to come back on the ice. That's too many men on the ice. The hand gets raised, so Post will go to power play. That's another penalty right there. Should be a 5-on-3 in favor of the Eagles, plus with the extra skater. Maybe should be a 5-on-4, I should say, after that, but right now we're just looking towards the other end of the ice, see if everyone's okay, trying to see who that is. I believe it's Maddie Noonan who came down hard. Noonan looks to be all right, kind of gingerly making her way towards the bench. We'll see what ends up happening. It's going to end up being, it should be a too many women on the ice penalty on St. Michael's. It was a hard play to follow as the goaltender, McKenna Dans, was halfway on her way back towards the net. On top of it, Maddie Noonan got tripped hard right into the boards behind the net of McKenna Dans. So Megan Sweezy, second-year head coach for St. Mike's, wants an explanation. Just over a minute left to go in this game, so should be a 5-on-3 opportunity and then a 5-on-4 when Dans leaves the net at some point. Felt like two fairly obvious calls, to be frank, so would be surprised if Megan Sweezy really puts up much of an argument. Just a little bit of a heartbreaker there for St. Mike's. We're finally gathering some momentum. Just couldn't really take advantage of it. So two women go into the box after the two penalties. One of them gets assessed to Callie Boychuk, and that's the tripping call right into the board. So Eagles go 5-on-3 here for the next minute and 15 seconds, which will all but certainly put this game away. Emma Hain taking her time as she should. Over to the near side. Back into the slot, rebound chance, and I believe Dan's got a piece of that one yet again. Farberman is out on the ice for Post. Good opportunity for her to try to get the hat trick. Hain takes the shot, she scores! Emma Hain delivers the dagger. It's now 4-2 Eagles. Another power play goal for Post University. Another point for Emma Hain, her third of the day. You can hear some of the fans' reaction to Noah Farberman getting taken off the ice. They're all searching for her hat trick, so it now becomes a 5-on-4 opportunity for the Eagles to try to continue to close out this game. For Hain, by the way, her team leading 7th goal of the season. Not to mention, in her last 6 games, she scored 5 of them. Very impressive stuff from the transfer defenseman from Lindenwood. Alicia McDonald into her offensive zone, trying to just put up a little bit of a fight towards the end. Doesn't look like McKenna Dans is leaving her net anytime soon. Of course, St. Mike's still shorthanded. It was a 5-on-3 power play goal for Emma Hain, and now a 5-on-4 advantage. Karis Kale chips it to herself in the offensive zone. Tries to send it back out into the slot, but nobody home to collect the pass. Under 20 seconds left to go. Audrey Hetman, she takes the long shot. That one easily stopped by Young, and she's going to cover it up with 12.3 left to go in this game. Well, barring some sort of miracle here, looks like Post University is going to hang on to sweep St. Mike's over the course of this weekend, and a very important sweep as they'll gather 6 points in the standings and still have an opportunity to try to be in the top 4 in the conference. You can hear the men's hockey team under me shouting to try to get Noah Farberman a chance for that hat trick. One last shot attempt there. Farberman moving up the ice, but ultimately she's not going to get it, and that'll do it here in Shelton as the Eagles sweep the Purple Knights and take Game 2 by a 4-2 score. Alex Young with her first career win and her first career start. Noah Farberman with a pair of goals. Emma Hain with 3 points. And boy, the vibes have to be high in that Eagles locker room right now. Got to give credit to St. Mike's only playing with 20 skaters as opposed to the expected 22, and they put up a fight in both last night's game and today. This was no easy fight by any means for Post University, and St. Mike's did a very good job, really led by Annika Lavender yesterday and then Brianna Jarvis today. So don't go anywhere as we'll have our post-game show coming up next. Our interviews with our players of the game. Got to imagine it's going to be Noah Farberman, of course. Alex Young is a possibility. Emma Hain, of course, had a great game, but we interviewed her yesterday. So got to imagine it'll be Alex Young and Noah Farberman will be joining us for some interviews coming up shortly. But until then, be sure to stick around. We'll be back in just about 10 minutes. All righty, welcome back, Eagles fans. I'm joined alongside the two-time goal scorer tonight, Noah Farberman. And Noah, just what a game tonight. What an important win for you guys. But first things first, I want to go through that first goal of the game. It looked like you were driving in, got the shot off, then the rebound chance, you left your feet to score it. Just take us through that goal. Were you even processing it as it happened?
No, I wasn't processing it when it happened, no.
But what was going through your head during the time? How good did it feel to get that, game-tying goal at the time, too, just back behind the net? Or, sorry, go-ahead goal, I believe.
Just getting the monkey off the back was nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, monkey off the back.
Felt great. Continuing on for the rest of this, an important game for you guys. 6 points in the standings over these two games. With only 6 games left in the season, you guys still have a shot to get a home ice game here in the new All-Conference tournament. So just speak as to how important these last couple of games are down the stretch for you guys and these past 2 wins.
I think it's really important. I mean, we've never had home ice advantage, so it'd be pretty cool to have that.
Last question for you, Noah. Want to talk about just the physicality of this game as well. Last night as well, St. Michael's came out strong. First period tonight, and they were hitting you guys, and you guys were hitting back. Just how good does it feel to come out in a game that really kind of tested you guys for a little bit, despite maybe St. Mike's not really looking that way in the standings, so to speak?
Just come out the best you can, right? Just you work hard in the gym, and then it translates onto the ice.
Awesome. Well, Noah, thank you so much, and congratulations on the big win. All right, Eagles fans, welcome back. I'm joined alongside the first career win today for Alex Young. Just what a game for you today. What a game for your team. Take us through the nerves of your first career start, kind of getting through that first period where you were tested quite a good amount, and then coming out on top with the first career win at the end of it, getting all the hugs from your teammates. How good did that feel?
Yeah, obviously a lot of nerves going in. First career start. I had a little bit of experience from RIT earlier in the season, but pretty nervous going in. I thought the team did a great job kind of getting me loose before the game. Hannah Saunders was awesome.
Yeah.
Just kind of mentoring me through and guiding me this season. Same with Devin. So it was awesome to get in there, and the team just made me feel so supported, and I knew they were going to pull through for me, so it was awesome.
Well, they pulled through in a big way today, especially throughout the course of the game. It was a back-and-forth game all throughout.
Yeah.
St. Mike's really came in strong in the first period last night, first period again tonight.
Yeah, they did.
How was it trying to survive that, and then how good did it feel once you finally felt like you guys got over that hump and, all right, we're now in our groove, we're now getting the lead back and really fighting in this thing?
Yeah, they came out really strong. I was pretty impressed with how they came out. We got on the penalty kill early, and I knew that was how they scored the goal last night, so just kind of being ready for that. Once I made it through that first penalty kill, I kind of settled in. So it was nice to, once you hit that first media timeout, you're kind of in it, and I felt good after that, so it was nice.
That first penalty kill, too, can often be like a good little test for yourself, so to speak, right, as a netminder.
Absolutely,
Got to feel good to pass it. I want to ask about the fans. I want to ask about a lot of different things. We don't have the time for it, but, I want to ask specifically about Hannah Saunders and Devin Amundsen. You mentioned them earlier.
Yeah.
Last night with Devin in net, I noticed that you and Hannah were the first two out there to go hug her, and tonight it looked like the same thing. Are you guys a close-knit goalie room? Obviously, your head coach is a former goalie as well, so just what is it like, the relationship with your two other netminders?
Yeah, I think Coach Brownie's really promoted us to have a relationship, and we're always just so happy for each other when the other one's in, and it's awesome to see Saunders doing what she's doing with Goalie of the Year watch list and just the things she's accomplished, and I was so happy for Dev last night when she got her first win of the season, so it was awesome to see them in and see them succeed, and it kind of sets the path for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Last question for you, Alex. So got, I believe, 6 more games left on the schedule. You guys are sitting in 5th place now in the conference, looking to just kind of overtake that hump. You play two of the teams that are ahead of you in the standings, fighting for that 4th spot to get home ice here in the tournament. What is it like fighting for these really meaningful games down the stretch, and how important is it for you guys down the stretch?
Yeah, obviously this program's built a lot. All the seniors only have 6 games left, and they've kind of built this program from the ground up. So it's going to be awesome for them, and hopefully we can get home ice advantage. That's been our goal all season, so hopefully we can make it happen.
Well, we look forward to it. Thank you so much, Alex.
Thank you.
And congratulations again on the first win.
Thank you so much.
For the rest of us Eagles fans, I can take the headset if you want.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. For the rest of us, that is going to do it here at the Sports Center of Connecticut. We thank you so much for taking the time out of your Saturday to join us. Once again, it's the Eagles 3 and St. Mike's 2. We'll see you next week, everybody. Have a good one.